And here we are once again in FedEx Field. Once again, the stadium that I've heard as one of the worst stadiums in the NFL. But this team may no longer have one of the worst owners in the NFL. I've heard they're moving on and they're looking to sell. So I'll start the bidding at $100. So if anyone's interested, come on down, $100. I'm right here. I'm willing to go up, just to let you know. And I'm a really bad negotiator. So I'll start the bidding there at 100. Washington Commanders may be my organization, and the main reason I want them is to make sure that their quarterback stays to be Taylor Heinicke. Looking at the stats, but they lost. Commanders lose to the Vikings, and the Vikings have a gorgeous comeback in this game that led by, obviously, Justin Jefferson. Adam Thielen had some amazing catches. The great Kirk Cousins, as he's known to be called, the great Kirk Cousins. One thing that was fun about this game was I got to remind myself how great TJ Hawkinson is, and I should have said this last week, but I did not know that he was up for trade. I would have said, all right, a first and Dawson Knox to get Hawkinson to the Bills, please. Please. I want it. I want TJ Hawkinson. And he showed out. 1 week turnover. He was just traded to them on Tuesday. Comes out 9 catches, 70 yards. That's how good he is. And they didn't even have that much production. Realize there's a lot of mistakes on Kirk Cousins. I'm going to talk about Kirk Cousins' stats. 22 for 40, 265, and 2 touchdowns. So 265 yards. Not the greatest game. We'll point that out as there's a mistake there. But Heinicke keeping him in it, running the ball, making it happen, and they got out to an early lead, being up 17-7 in the fourth quarter with that touchdown. 14 minutes in the fourth quarter. And then clock struck 12. The Minnesota Vikings, 6-1. This week was a funny week. I'm going to involve the Vikings, as we already talked about one team. Actually, I feel like we've talked about 2 teams. And we're going to talk about another team coming up. This is a tough week for good teams. Even the Eagles were tied 17-17 to the Texans. The Texans might, if this was English soccer, they would get demoted down to college. But the Eagles were 17-17 at half against the Texans. The Vikings were losing in the fourth quarter against the Commanders by 10. The Dolphins, the game wasn't exactly too close, but the Bears had their chances to win that game. The Bears aren't quality. The Commanders aren't quality. And, of course, the worst of them all is the Bills just straight up lost to the Jets. It was a tough day for good teams. Tough day for teams that have a lot of wins. They came out and they kind of showed weakness. And the Commanders are here, and they're playing. I mean, they're 4-5. I know it's not great, but I would love to see Heinicke lead this team to the playoffs so he could return to the playoffs as he played in the playoffs last 2 years ago against Tom Brady. Thought he was going to become the new GOAT, take his energy from him. But what a game. Vikings came back. Hawkinson, Jefferson, beautiful deep ball to Jefferson, put him into, I believe it happened right before the touchdown, and then that pass to Dalvin Cook in the end zone, over the shoulder. Having Dalvin Cook is unfair. To have a running back that good, granted he didn't do that well in this game, but a running back that good and to catch a pass like that is scary, having that coming out of the backfield. He caught it over the shoulder, I believe it was over the shoulder, and just tapped his toes right in. It was crazy. And then a wonderful play was Samuel triple covered, and I believe the ref set a pick for him. It was not a pick play. It was just Heinicke running around, and he just heaved it. He heaved it deep, and it goes to Samuel as he kind of like undercut underneath 2 defenders, like the safety or the corner that were covering him, and then there was another defender that ran into the referee and fell down, and then he just kind of fell and caught it, popped up and rolled into the end zone. Touchdown. Frickin' touchdown, baby. That was in the third quarter. They took the lead with that, 49 yards. Oh, man. Heineke, I think Heineke's at, I think it's too early to say, but he might be entering into Fitzpatrick type of play. And they're 4-5. If they get rolling, maybe steal a game from the Eagles. Anyone hearing that? I'm gonna go on upset alert. Who is it? Kevin Wild on First Things First. He goes upset alert. I'll throw mine out there. I'm going Commanders handing the Eagles their first loss. You heard it here first. Heineke is going to be my hero. And I'm talking about a game where they lost. I'm a fan. This is the third week in a row we're talking Commanders because they're living in these close games, baby, and they're having a blast doing it. New owners, it's going to be me, $100. It's on the table. I don't have that type of cash on me. I don't carry it. It's a little dangerous. So let's go, Commanders. And fine, we'll give credit where credit is due. The Minnesota Vikings are 7-1. They're going to win the AFC North. They are looking very good. Kirk Cousins is holding it down. Dalvin Cook is still good. Justin Jefferson is the second best receiver in the league. And that's a man who's a Bills fan and thinks Stephon Diggs is the second coming. Jefferson is, I would believe, ahead of him. What a trade, huh? That trade between the Bills and the Vikings, have you ever seen anything work out better? You know? It's like, we'll trade you for a first-round pick to get a player from the same exact position as you that's going to be playing just as good as you. Almost immediately. But you're also still going to be really good, so the team we trade him to is going to be happy that they got a receiver that's, finishing in the top 5 in yards and stuff like that. And then I am also going to get a receiver who is finishing in the top 5 in yards as well. And now they have TJ Hawkinson. Oh my gosh, TJ Hawkinson. And then they still have the Vikings adding Hawkinson, best skill room in football. It's on you, Cousins. Man, they're 7-1, so they're doing it. But my goodness, if the Vikings do not show up, if they're not in the NFC Championship, I could see a Kaepernick, Alex Smith type of exchange mid-season. And they don't have a Kaepernick. I don't even know who their backup is, but if Cousins cannot keep this team rolling with those players, my goodness, it would shock me. Now that they have possibly at least a top 5 tight end, and then already a top 5 receiver, and then, a really good second receiver, and then also a really good running back as well. And a good defense. And they were still losing by 10 points in the fourth quarter against the Washington Commanders because that Heineke magic. I got to think of better word. Heineke's heroes. I don't know. I'll think of it. I'll think of one. I'm sure they'll be back in here next week after they upset the crap out of the Eagles, because that's what I'm calling upset alert. Monday Night Football, Commanders over the Eagles. Let's move on.